Located in the heart of Washington, D.C., the Woodrow Wilson International Center for Scholars lies between the Capitol and the White House. Established under the Smithsonian Institution, it's a perfect setting for the world's preeminent research and public policy institution. Enacted by Congress in 1968, the Woodrow Wilson Center is a living memorial to President Woodrow Wilson and his dedication to both the worlds of policy and scholarship. Woodrow Wilson, the 28th President of the United States of America, was an accomplished scholar, a renowned university president, and architect of America's modern international perspective. The only American president to hold a PhD, Wilson was a professor of political science and the author of 9 books. He served as president of Princeton University and governor of New Jersey before leading his nation through war and transforming the role of the president forever. One of only 3 U.S. presidents to receive the Nobel Peace Prize, Woodrow Wilson established the United States as a leader in world affairs. At home, he advanced the notion that an active government can improve people's lives, inspired by a deep faith in both God and humanity. President John Fitzgerald Kennedy signed Public Law 87364, providing for the creation of a memorial to President Wilson. Rather than a monument like those that honor Presidents Washington, Jefferson, and Lincoln, the center was created as a living institution, reflecting the ideals of Woodrow Wilson.
Let me say a word or two about the Wilson Center. Of course, it's specially charged by act of Congress with commemorating the lives and the ideals of our 28th president. You've done that now for more than 3 decades, encouraging important scholarly work and reasoned discussion of great issues.
The Wilson Center incorporates the ideals of Woodrow Wilson. His 2 great passions were scholarship and policy. That's what the Wilson Center is all about.
I think that the scholarly research and the academic excellence of the center are well known, and the products that emanate from the center by way of academic studies and scholarly works are very beneficial to those in high-level policy positions in government.
I'm very proud to be associated with the Woodrow Wilson Center because I believe we have a very strong impact, a very positive impact on public policy by bringing together leaders in the business community, in the public policy arena, and in academia. We try to seek out solutions to the many problems that we face in today's complex society.
The Woodrow Wilson International Center for Scholars aims to unite the world of ideas to the world of policy by bringing together preeminent academics and practitioners from a wide variety of disciplines, professions, nationalities, and viewpoints in an arena free from partisanship and advocacy.
To be practical, you have to have ideas that will fly. And I think Lee Hamilton and his team at the Woodrow Wilson Center ensure that that's the case. You're not wasting your time when you go there to participate in a thoughtful exercise. It usually has an effect down the road in a beneficial way.
The work of the scholars really is at the very center of everything we do. And we're having meetings on particular subjects all the time, and we bring scholars from previous years, scholars who may apply in future, or people we're trying to recruit in to participate in meetings. So the business is ideas, the ideas come from the scholars.
We are having a very interesting group of fellows and public policy scholars this morning, and it will show the versatility of the people who come to the center and the topics they are working on.
Well, the issues of the 21st century are complex and global, and somebody needs to be thinking about them as objectively as possible and trying to find a win-win solution that benefits everyone. And the Woodrow Wilson Institute is pioneering in that direction.
Understanding the dynamics of conflict, sharing them from Africa perspective, that has been one of the extraordinary kind of experience you have at the center, whereby you have this mutual cross-fertilization.
The chance to hear other people talk about the methods that they use, because the methods of biography are quite different from the methods of political science, and yet biography is plastic enough so you can consider your subject in ways that you had not been able to before you knew how people in another discipline did that.
It is really gratifying to see a lot of people from all over the place working on very different projects. And the critique, the discussions, conversation, I find this place to be very unique in that sense. The large presence of international scholars is great.
I think one of the most fascinating comments I've read on an evaluation that a scholar has written is, "The center changed my life." You can't get any better than that. It's that time away from the university and the confines of the university where they're able to write that book that they need to advance their career. So the impact of the center not only reaches the policy arena, it reaches the academic community as well.
The Woodrow Wilson Center maintains specialized programs and projects covering broad areas of study. Program staff organize and host conferences and seminars and support many kinds of research, communications, and publications on topics relevant to their areas.
One of the great experiences I've had, and you can have, is to simply drop in on a meeting and listen to top-flight scholars and policy people talk about China, or nanotechnology, or Latin America, or Russia, or Ukraine, or Asia. The list of topics just goes on and on.
The Congress Project presents firsthand accounts by members of Congress and others as to how the policy process really works on Capitol Hill.
In the Division of International Studies, we focus on important topics, from nonproliferation and terrorism to environmental degradation and conflict prevention.
With so much of the world attention concentrated on the Middle East, it is essential to understand the people, the culture, and the history of the region.
The Wilson Center attracts world-class speakers from the executive, legislative, and judicial branches of the U.S. government. The center is also a desired venue for heads of state and cabinet ministers from all parts of the world, as well as leaders from journalism, the private sector, and non-governmental organizations.
We judge a good meeting at the Woodrow Wilson Center by who you get in the room. We want to get people from different backgrounds working on the same problem. We want to have the perspective of the private sector, of the government, of the scholar, of the NGO representative, of the diplomat. We get them into the same room and we hope through their dialogue, not that they'll all agree with each other, because they won't, but that each can learn a little bit from the other.
I'm interested in the issue of Euro-Islam and its implication to worldwide security and stability.
I've been quite impressed with the caliber and the quality of the speakers. I think they've addressed the key issues. The questions are quite more complex than just the issue of riots in France or bombings in Madrid.
The impact, we may not see it in immediate terms, but long-term impact is for sure there because we are molding the thinking. And by molding the thinking, we are also offering decision makers opportunities for alternative way of acting.
The Woodrow Wilson Center maintains an active schedule of programming outside of Washington, D.C. In cities around the world, the center sponsors or participates in meetings and policy forums focused on issues important to that community. It is one of the ways the Wilson Center provides dialogue between the leading nonpartisan Washington Policy Forum and the communities that support the center.
We serve as a forum for high-level exchange between Latin Americans and U.S. scholars and policymakers on the key issues of importance to the hemisphere.
The Kent Institute's offices in Moscow and Kiev regularly bring together groups of Russians and Ukrainians to talk about pressing issues of democratic transition.
First of all, I want to express my personal thanks to Lee Hamilton for those kind remarks and for being our host today. This is a historic and wonderful place for us to assemble.
The center does outstanding
outstanding work in promoting the discussion of crucial policy issues, and it's a place where scholars and policymakers can engage in fruitful discourse.
I'm honored to be here at the Woodrow Wilson Center. This is a real tribute to President Wilson. I think if he were alive today and among us, he would find the present moment fascinating.
What is globalization? How does it affect the United States and other leading industrial powers? Will it help the developing world, or can it hurt? These are key 21st century questions that business leaders and policymakers need to ask and to understand.
The Africa program seeks to elevate the profile of Africa within America's policymaking community. We serve as a forum for informed debate, reflection, research on African issues, and on American policy toward the continent.
Dialogue is the broadcast voice of the Wilson Center, producing programs for radio, television, and the internet. The Center also publishes the Wilson Quarterly, reaching over 60,000 subscribers and many more readers. More than 1,500 books have been written at the Center. Newsletters, bulletins, working papers, and websites reach tens of thousands more.
There's just a wealth of information here at the Center, and it's important to us, I think, to help not only the Center's image, but to also help, again, in promoting the discussion between the world of policy and the world of scholarship.
One of the most recognized symbols of the Wilson Center is its prestigious Woodrow Wilson Award. Each year, the Center presents renowned corporate and public leaders with awards for corporate citizenship and public service. Awards are presented to the honorees at dinners throughout the world, providing an opportunity to recognize their contributions publicly and to introduce the important work of the Center to both national and international audiences.
I, along with others, was honored to accept the Woodrow Wilson Award because of the uniqueness that it represents in international recognition.
Through the efforts in the Development Office, we are building a national as well as an international following of corporate, individual, and foundation supporters. We are really taking the message of the Woodrow Wilson Center around the world. And while we do that, we are recruiting and informing people about the mission of the Woodrow Wilson Center.
Well, I think that the Woodrow Wilson Center is one of the finest public policy and research institutions in our country.
And it's important to have a strong institution calling us back.
The work of the scholars at the Wilson Center lasts for political generations.
It's a place where I think it has a lot of credibility, it has a lot of influence.
You need this kind of organization to bring people together.
It's a huge market where knowledge is being traded. It's fantastic.
I've been able to tap into that expertise and listen to people highly knowledgeable.
And I've learned more things about more fields in the month or so that I've been here than in any other month I can think of.
You'll be impressed by the quality of the dialogue, informed, serious, and without spin.
As President Wilson wrote, the man who has the time, the discrimination, and the sagacity to collect and comprehend the principal facts, and the man who must act upon them, must draw near to one another and feel that they are engaged in a common enterprise. We at the Center feel strongly in President Wilson's idea that the scholar, the politician, and the business leader are engaged in a common enterprise. We believe, as Woodrow Wilson believed, that through dialogue, better scholarship and better policy will emerge.